Hi, everybody. Welcome. Happy Friday. Welcome to In the Now with Simone Jennifer Smith. You know what? Over the last couple months, I remember when I first started to do this, I was so I wouldn't say nervous, but I didn't know really how I was going to make people pay attention to what was happening. And I was thinking about how was I going to formulate, how was I going to put everything together, how was I going to make this work. And finally, I think I've got my groove. What I'm really enjoying about In the Now and why I really encourage everyone who's watching this to share this is the fact that I'm bringing you things that are, yes, being talked about in the news that, you know what, sometimes we're dealing with so much is coming at us. And this I understand. And what I do is I have a team along with my wonderful researcher, Frances, and we sit down and we go over what we think is important for the community. We get in lots of videos. She gets in videos. I get in videos. And again, I want to thank the community for everything you guys do. Thank you for sending me in your thoughts. Thank you for sending me in your videos. I use a lot of your clips. And you know what? It makes me keep things relevant for the community. So I want to again always be thanking you guys for just being there, listening, supporting, and share this information because you know what? Honestly, when you read the description, I'm going to continue to go down this rabbit hole and present information to you so that you know what? You have that option to either, ignore, delete, or, see what you can do with that information and share it out. So, of course, as we know, yesterday was International Women's Day. And I didn't even realize it was actually International Women's Day until I started to get all these messages on my WhatsApp. So thank you everybody for sending me stuff on International Women's Day. But it got me thinking, of course. Now, everyone has their opinion on what's the purpose of having an International Women's Day. Like, why are we? Does this maybe set us back thousands of years because now we're separating the genders again? Like, why does there have to be an International Women's Day? And you know what? I think it's a really good question. But I don't want to deal with that question too much today. I just want to bring it up because, of course, again, I get in comments from people. I want you guys to understand that, you know what? People are going to formulate opinions around certain things, and that's okay. You're allowed to have your opinion. My goal, give you information. So what I decided to do with International Women's Day is start to honor some of the women who have contributed a lot, not just to us, because women have contributed to society, period, because we give birth. So we create all the great minds that come into this world. But I think what I wanted to do was talk about, you know what? I've had this fascination with what's happening in our technological world. Technology is the way of the future. You can either go with it or get left behind, but it's happening. And the best thing to know is I'm not asking anyone to get themselves completely incorporated into it completely, but have an understanding of what is happening in technology. And to let you know that there's a lot of great women who have done wonderful things for us when it comes to technology. And without them, guess what? A lot of the things that we have right now wouldn't be here. So to say that, I'll say again, happy International Women's Day to everybody. And let's talk about some of these women in technology who have advanced us where we are. And I said happy twice. Maybe because I'm really happy. I don't know. Anyhow, so my very first picture, this lady's name is Ada Lovelace. Now, who is Ada Lovelace? I'll leave this up there because that picture is going to explain a lot about her. She developed an algorithm for a computer that didn't exist, an accomplishment that some say qualifies her as the world's first computer programmer. Yes. So one of the world's first computer programmers was actually a woman. She was born to English nobility in 1815, and Lovelace was put to work by Charles Babbage in 1843, documenting his never-to-be-realized computer, the analytic engine. So, starting with a document written in French by Luigi Menabrea, an Italian mathematician, Lovelace added extensive notes to the English translation, including the world's first computer algorithm. Ada Lovelace died in 1852 at the age of 36, which I thought was really young. So she did a lot in I'm 38 now. So she, 36 years old, and she was actually one of the people who helped developed that first computer algorithm. So there's something to know. My next person, I thought this person was, I love the fact that this woman exists. Her name is Navy Admiral Grace Hopper, and she's extremely important. I have two pictures of her. This is her in the past. Obviously, this is her back in the days. And then I have a recent picture of her, but she was called the Queen of Software by some and Grandma Cobble. She helped invent some of the early English language programming languages for computers. Grace Hopper is most famously associated with the Common Business Oriented Language, COBOL, where her nickname came from, which was based on the Flowmatic language that she designed back in 1958. Before the invention of such language-based programming, computers spoke exclusively blech, in binary code, which was illegible to human beings. So Hopper was convinced that if programming were produced in a form that everyone could read, there would be more programmers. And guess what, everybody? She was right. Grace Hopper died at the age of 85. So she lived a long life and she did a lot of great things for technology. So kudos to you, Grace Hopper. Now, in 2016, I love this. The movie Hidden Figures told the story of three female African American human computers at NASA. Human computers. I was very intrigued by that title. The names Dorothy Vaughan, Katherine Johnson, and Mary Jackson. Those were considered the three human computers. Their contributions were instrumental in sending John Glenn into space. And yeah, I do have pictures of them. Sorry, Jordan. Big up yourself, Jordan. So, of course, the names again. I'll say the names again. Dorothy Vaughan, Katherine Johnson, and Mary Jackson. And their contributions were instrumental in sending John Glenn into space. With their calculations, he became the first American astronaut to make a complete orbit of the Earth. Now, Dorothy Vaughan died on November 10th, 2008, at the age of 98. Very long life. Katherine Johnson currently resides in Virginia. She's 98 years old. And Mary Jackson died on February 11th, 2005, at the age of 83. So great ancestors, did great things. Kudos to them as well. Thank you very much for your contributions. So this one is actually very important because for all you iPad, iPhone, everything users, who knows who this lady is? Her name is Susan Carr. And this is an old picture of her. I liked it because I just saw like the Kentucky Fried Chicken. This kind of looks like how my desk sort of looks at home, just mass confusion. She was the designer who helped bring the Apple computer to life with her sophisticated typography and iconic design skills. Susan Carr shaped many of the now common interface elements of the Mac, like the command icon, which she found while looking through a book of symbols. So all those little icons you see, those belong and actually were created by Suzanne Carr. There's a couple more pictures. I think I have some of the icon. Ah, there they are. So all these icons, the little garbage can, when you press delete and it opens up, that's her. She worked alongside Steve Jobs, and she now owns her own digital firm and sells prints of her designs online. So that's her right now. Again, we commend you. Thank you for many people. Thank you, man. You know how many times I want to get rid of things? Well, I don't use iPads. I have like a PC, but I have friends and stuff who use iPads. So I'm sure they are happy that you made that little garbage thing so we can delete things and it just opens up and falls in. Thank you very much for that. And our very last woman that we're going to honor before we go on break is Marion Croak. Now, she started at AT&T in 1982 at Bell Laboratories. And yes, I do definitely have a picture of her as well. In the mid 1990s, along with a few other colleagues, she successfully advocated for AT&T to replace telephony. To, is it telephony? 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 Okay, thank you, Dave. With Internet Protocol, the foundation of today's modern networks. I believe, did I give you guys a picture of her to put up there? I think so. That's it. Yep, that's it. Mrs. Marianne Croak. And in the fall of 2014, Croak left AT&T to join Google, where she serves as Vice President of Research and Development for Access Strategy and Emerging Markets. Croak is in charge of Google's efforts to expand internet access around the world, especially in emerging markets. So, some great women. There were some other women that were on that list as well, but I picked these women. I'm going to say their names again. So, Suzanne Carr, Grace Hopper, Ada Lovelace, Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, Marianne Croak, Mary Jackson. I think I said Katherine Johnson. We honor you and we appreciate you for your contributions. Did we get that picture of her? Did we get to show Mary Croak? Okay. Mary Croak, you can look her up. She's done some great work, but we honor and respect you guys for all the work that you've done. We need to pay homage to you because a lot of the advances we have now, especially the garbage can, wouldn't be here if it was not for you. We'll be back on In the Now.
No one wants to live outside the box. We play it safe. But if you had told me all those years ago that I'd go on to win Juno Awards and Much Music Awards, I would have laughed. All right, stay with me. Here we go. Hands up! Reach for the sky. Come on! And hold your head up high tonight. And every night, you're what? To be distinct, you must be different. So I'm going to tell you this. Love Inc.'s You're a Superstar went on to explode onto the Canadian dance scene. Not only was it a hit in Canada, it was a hit internationally. Top 5 in the UK, across Europe, and into Australia. Our music was everywhere. Radio, TV, video, fashion, television. I was on tour across Canada, branching into the US and Europe. Our music was everywhere. Our video was everywhere.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. So we've entered an age, obviously, of not only social media and the internet. Once the internet broke, information was a little bit more accessible to us. And from there, it's just grown. Now we can basically get information at our fingertips. And most recently, well, if anyone's watched the show before, there's once or twice that I have been cut. I don't know if I've been cut because it was just our own issues or if the fact that some of the stuff that we did say was censored. But regardless, right now, I found out this week that YouTube has been censoring all alt-right groups. Now, we're going to talk about what that is and why that's happening, okay? So YouTube is starting to censor, and they actually have a video. I have a video of Alex Jones. We all know who Alex Jones is from InfoWars. I'll be playing that in a moment, but I want to talk about a little bit to lead up to this video, okay? So who and what? And again, a lot of this information has come to me. This is not something that I advocate. This is just news. This is news that I'm giving to you. And again, please do your due diligence and do your research on this news. So recently, YouTube moderators removed right-wing comment channels by mistake, okay? Over 10,000 new staff were hired in December, as the company sought to address any inappropriate clips being uploaded following criticism of its hosting contentions material without challenge. So they were having stuff that was going up that was not being challenged. So they decided they have to start challenging it. The site prefers to take down individual videos and only issue bans in extreme cases, most recently blacklisting neo-Nazi groups, Atomwaffen, for violating hate speech rules. So sometimes the censorship is good because obviously you can't be on here speaking hate, pushing out hate. They're gonna censor that. So that type of stuff, I can see why. This week, that changed when the YouTube moderators banned alt-right accounts, which are loosely connected and somewhat ill-defined groupings of white supremacists, neo-Confederates, neo-Nazis, neo-fascists, and other far-right fringe hate groups. Again, them cutting these people off makes complete sense. We don't want this type of information to be put out because, again, this information is accessible to our children, and that's the biggest issue. So why are they doing this? They did this in an attempt to increase its efforts to remove offensive content pro-gun accounts where trading conspiracy theories regarding the Parkland High School shooting in Florida, where an armed gunman killed 17 people with an AR-15 assault rifle. So apparently that they were trading theories, conspiracy theories about why that happened, and YouTube wasn't appreciating it. So they started to take some of that stuff down. And a side note for you, as the US gun control debate heats up, it isn't too surprising that this is actually happening. The Florida House just recently passed a $400 million gun control and school safety bill. What does this mean? That seeks to ban bump stocks, raise the minimum age to buy a gun, and actually allow employees to carry guns on campus. I remember when I first heard about the Florida shooting again, that was one of my thoughts. I was like, I wonder if they start arming teachers, would that be helpful or not? Would that make situations worse, or would that be a preventative measure? Okay. So this was done to go against the National Rifle Association, the NRA, which opposed the legislation's firearm restrictions. Many other pro-gun channels were issued with strikes, partial bans, or temporary suspensions, with InfoWars being the most well-known, making it appear as if YouTube did this on purpose in an effort to rid itself of conservative commentators. So I do have a video for you with our friend, Mr. Alex Jones. Take a look at it and tell me what you think.
Made him successful, and now Disney's taking it over, and Murdoch is in the news with his CEO going, newspapers are going to do great because we're going to shut everybody else down, and you'll only be able to get our feeds on the internet now. And I'm like, what in Hades? And then Google is taking directives from Murdoch and his CEO because now they have right-wing cover. So I'm saying the knives are out, folks. They're carving the Christmas pig up here. And I don't just say this, oh, it's all of you. They're going to get all of you. I don't even care about me. Okay, I'm a little bit fatalistic. I have this mission I have to carry out. I'm not going to give up, but I'm not suicidal. I want to live forever. But at the same time, it's kind of like a job to be honorable and work hard. And I'm just telling you, they've incrementally censored, diddled, manipulated, this and that banned over here. But now it is, we're taking over. Blah! And it's here. So asking Milo, asking Doug Hagman, Doug, if you'll come on Sunday, I want to get you on with me, the Sunday show. I don't know. We need to freak out. We need to check him with the head cut off. And then target. But I'm just letting the listeners know, this is history book stuff. I keep saying that, Milo.
Yeah. No, it is. And this is an example of one of those moments in time where regime change, if you like, happens quietly and slowly and almost while nobody is noticing. The incremental erosion of rights in America has started to accelerate in the last 5 or 10 years. You know, the assaults on the First Amendment, the assaults on the Second Amendment, the voices who are calling it.
I wish I was like even half as animated as Alex Jones is. Like, I feel like I should talk with my hands more. Yeah, I think I do, but I think I should do more. So, Alex, you have one strike against you. What did that even mean? Yes, Alex Jones officially has one strike against him. I don't know if it's for that video or for, I'm sure, other things that he has said that people don't necessarily agree with. But Alex Jones has been dubbed America's leading conspiracy theorist and a prominent voice of the so-called alt-right movement in the US. And he is famed for his far-fetched and erroneous, they say, conspiracy theories. Now, again, this is from one person who said erroneous. This is not my thought about it. Who can say it's erroneous? No one, and unless we have actual facts. The good thing about Alex Jones is that he does provide some facts. So, anyhow, YouTube's community guidelines stipulate the account will shut down altogether if it gets 3 strikes. So, Alex, you have 1 strike. After 2 more strikes, they're shutting you down. So, I don't know. We may not have Alex Jones in a little bit, guys. Don't know what to say. So I want you guys to give me your thoughts, please. I always want thoughts from you guys. So do you think that YouTube was in the right or in the wrong in their decision to censor alt-right groups on their platforms? Do you think it's okay that they're doing this? Because if they begin to censor them, does that mean they can start censoring? How many more things can they censor? Are they going to start censoring us? Can I even talk about this? Can I talk about them censoring censorship? Does that make sense, Dave? Censoring censorship? Anyways, some thoughts. So you guys please do give your thoughts. So now I'm going to my very next video. And you know what? I'm probably going to end off with this. And when I come back, we're going to go into a little bit of discussion because this is interesting. So we actually have, okay, I've always talked about Terminator because that's the first thing that comes to mind when I think futuristic or I think about Total Recall. We actually have our very first cyborg. I would like to introduce you guys to Neil Harbison. And this will take us to our break. We'll be right back.
Well, I was born with a rare visual condition called achromatopsia, which is total color blindness. So I've never seen color, and I don't know what color looks like, because I come from a grayscale world. To me, the sky is always gray, flowers are always gray, and television is still in black and white. But since the age of 21, instead of seeing color, I can hear color. In 2003, I started a project with computer scientist Adam Montandon, and the result, with further collaborations with Peter Queche from Slovenia and Mateus Lizana from Barcelona, is this electronic eye. It's a color sensor that detects the color frequency in front of me and sends this frequency to a chip installed at the back of my head, and I hear the color in front of me through the bone, through bone conduction. So for example, if I have like, this is the sound of purple. For example, this is the sound of grass. This is red, like that. This is the sound of a dirty sock, which is like yellow, this one. So I've been hearing color all the time for 8 years, since 2004. So I find it completely normal now to hear color all the time. At start, though, I had to memorize the names you give for each color. So I had to memorize the notes, But after some time, all this information became a perception. I didn't have to think about the notes. And after some time, this perception became a feeling. I started to have favorite colors, and I started to dream in color. So when I started to dream in color is when I felt that the software and my brain had united. Because in my dreams, it was my brain creating electronic sounds. It wasn't the software. So that's when I started to feel like a cyborg. It's when I started to feel that the cybernetic device was no longer a device. It had become a part of my body, an extension of my senses. And after some time, it even became a part of my official image. This is my passport from 2004. You're not allowed to appear on UK passports with electronic equipment, but I insisted to the passport office that what they were...
We are doing this event for the community. But what if CEO actually stood for catching every opportunity? This week alone, I've seen 3 businesses that shut their doors in this community.
Investing in yourself. Like, you have to know what your brand is first. So there's no other way that you're going to build a brand unless you network. You have to eventually get out there.
And it stems down to a lot of times not having the right knowledge, the right know-how.
Welcome back, everybody. Are you joining me down the rabbit hole of technology? So we have a cyborg. On our break, of course, me and the crew, we heard just like, there's so many other things this guy can do to see color. I don't know why I had to have something implanted in the skull. But again, I'm here delivering news, so that's what I'm going to do. So Neil Harbison, and I have a picture of him, and you know you guys have seen him, is the world's first cyborg artist, okay? He's the first person in the world with an antenna actually implanted in his skull. He was recognized as the world's first cyborg in 2004, and Harbison used the antenna to help him cope with his complete color blindness. As you saw in the video, he said that he sees everything in black and white. So the antenna allows him to extend his perception of reality beyond the visual spectrum, so he can actually sense infrared and ultraviolet, in addition to having internet connection, so he can receive colors from other parts of the world or connect to satellites so he can send colors from space. Now, Harbison is the co-founder of the Cyborg Foundation, an international organization that defends cyborg rights. So there's not just human rights anymore. There's cyborg rights. There's cyborg rights. I didn't realize that there was those. And promotes cyborg art, which I wish I'd gotten some pictures of to show you guys, and supports people who want to become cyborgs. So, first of all, I didn't even know there was a market for this. There's people who actually want to become half metal, half machine. Sorry, half man, half machine, or half woman, half machine. But apparently there is. So again, you can look him up. His name is Neil Harbison, and he's our very first cyborg. Like, I don't know. This is what's happening. This is our world. This is where technology. I almost can guarantee you that Ada Lovelace Navy Admiral Grace Hopper, Suzanne Carr, they had no idea that this would be at this point where there's actually someone who wants to become a machine. So guys, again, knowing what's happening, I know some of this might not seem important, but they've been talking about chips and microchips and things like that. So these things are progressing. And again, it's just, for me, I need to get this information out to you guys. You guys need to understand that this is a real thing. I'm not asking you to jump on board. I'm asking you to be aware and not remain ignorant in this, okay? So we're going to move on past Mr. Cyborg Man. And we're going to talk about social media, the fact that you're sitting here watching this, the fact that you might be sitting there to watch the rerun of this. What is happening with social media? I've brought this up. One of my very first shows talked about this, but Steve Harvey said something this morning, which I'm going to repeat. He said that sometimes he repeats information over and over again because sometimes the way the information comes to you the first time is not the way that you take it in. There's different ways that people take in information, and I may say something one day in just a slightly different way that clicks with you. So it's okay to repeat information as well, because as you know about repeated information, the more you hear something, the more it gets embedded into your mind. So let's talk about social media and the importance of knowing the impact that it's having to you, to your child, without you even realizing it. So recently, the CEO of Facebook, Sean Parker, admitted that the social network was founded not to unite us, but actually distract us. I have a short video on this, and it's called The 5 Crazy Ways Social Media is Changing Your Brain Right Now.
Social media sites being used by 1/3 of the entire world, they've clearly had a major influence on society. But what about our bodies? Here are 5 crazy ways that social media and the internet are affecting your brain right now. Can't log off? Surprisingly, 5 to 10% of internet users are actually unable to control how much time they spend online. Though it's a psychological addiction as opposed to a substance addiction, brain scans of these people actually show a similar impairment of regions that those with drug dependence have. Specifically, there's a clear degradation of white matter in the regions that control emotional processing, attention, and decision making. Because social media provides immediate rewards with very little effort required, your brain begins to rewire itself, making you desire these stimulations, and you begin to crave more of this neurological excitement after each interaction. Sounds a little like a drug, right? We also see a shift when looking at multitasking. You might think that those who use social media or constantly switch between work and websites are better.
So I'm going to break down exactly what's happening here. And it is very important. Of course, it's great for me because this is psychology. Yes, everybody, I'm back on that mental thing again. So the thought process behind this was, how do we consume as much of your time? Yes, you, the watcher, you, the person on your phone right now, you, the person sitting at your desk and supposed to be doing your work, but you're watching YouTube, you, the person on your iPad. How can we consume as much as your time and attention as possible? So to be able to do this, Facebook architects exploited the vulnerability, and I want to say this word, exploited the vulnerability in human psychology. This is why it is so important. This science of psychology is so ignored, and it's so important because it's what's being used to control us, people. And we don't even know it because we don't even understand our own psychology. So this vulnerability can be seen whenever someone likes or comments on a post or a photograph. It's like you're given a dopamine hit. And I'm going to go into a definition of dopamine in a minute, but I want you to think about this for a second. And this is why I've always told, especially people close to me, and something I've started to practice as of most recently, that first 20 minutes, that first hour of your day, avoid going on social media, guys. You are literally getting addicted to it. When you click on, and the first thing people do, and I used to be guilty of it, and sometimes I still am very guilty of it. I'll post something and then I'll go back and check to see how many likes it got, or how many hearts it got, or how many views it got. And all of those things are triggering me. And I'm going to explain how that's happening. So I have a definition for you. As one of the major neurotransmitters, dopamine relates to the reward we receive for an action. It also has to do with desire, ambition, addiction, and sex drive, okay? So that dopamine is extremely powerful, which is why we do so many things to get that triggered, okay? It's known as the fun transmitter. Dopamine is regularly mentioned in Silicon Valley, where it is considered the secret ingredient that makes an app, game, or social platform sticky. The investor term for potentially profitable. So guys, like, they know about this. I don't know what to say. Like, a lot of us have heard the word dopamine and we don't even know what to do with it. But that neurotransmitter in your mind is responsible for what you feel when you feel happy. So when we do things to make ourselves happy, we're hitting that dopamine every time, okay? So obviously, people who have created social media apps and create these games have learned how to tune into our dopamine, and they know us. They know that we are gonna hit it every time. Tech companies understand what causes dopamine surges in the brain, and they lace their products with hijacking techniques that lure us in, okay, and create compulsion loops. So I'm going to explain to you guys in my next definition slide what a compulsion loop is. Compulsion loops, or a core loop, is a habitual designed chain of activities that will be repeated to gain a neurochemical reward, such as the release of dopamine. So they've actually come up with techniques, guys, to enhance the social media process for you, enhance the experience, sorry, is the word I meant to use, for you, so that you continue to come back. Again, I'm speaking to those people out there who right now are sitting on their social media platforms, not realizing that you are literally addicted to this. It's not an addiction like smoking cigarettes or using heroin, but it's a psychological drug, which means that it becomes habitual for you, where yes, you are legit going there without even realizing, guys. So a practice for you, and we're going to go back and talk a little bit more about how social media has gotten us addicted. But I want you to really think about this. How much time, really think about this, sit back, are you spending on your social media sites? And how much of this time is taken away from interacting socially with actual people? We'll be back on In the Now.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
back, everybody. If you are just joining us on In the Now, you've missed some pretty cool information. We've been talking a lot about technology in the most recent, and the reason is right now is because it is the most trending topic. There's so much stuff happening in the technological world. And of course, I want to be able to break down the most important things and give them to you. So in our very first segment, for those just joining us, we were honoring the women because yesterday was International Women's Day. And we were honoring the great women of technology, the ones who have brought us some of the most recent technology in our day and have brought us to this very point. And I had made a comment that if some of them even saw what was happening right now, I'm sure they would be shocked. In our second segment, we spoke about we're speaking about bans, how YouTube is banning right-wing commentaries and conspiracy theorists, especially our favorite here, Mr. Alex Jones. So that was our second segment. And then we also spoke a little bit about the very first cyborg and what's happening there. So that's kind of interesting if you don't know what's happening with him. So you can go back and check that out. And I started speaking in the last segment on how we get addicted to social media. And again, this is something I'm not telling you to stop using social media because let's be real, you wouldn't listen to me anyways. But I want you to be aware of the amount of time that you're putting into social media and understand that it's taking away some very valuable time that you could be spending with people instead of staring at a screen. So we talked about dopamine in our last segment and what that is. That's our fun transmitter, the neurotransmitter that makes us have fun, and how we like to press it all the time, and how Facebook and other social media sites, apps, games have found a way to hijack the way we think and get us to go back to social media all the time. So every time we post, share, like, comment, or send an invitation online, we are creating an expectation according to the study that was done on this whole idea of the dopamine and what's happening with us. We feel a sense of belonging and advance our concept of self through sharing. Most social media sites create irregular time rewards. And this is a technique that's actually used by the makers of slot machines, okay? Based on the work of the American psychologist B.F. Skinner. If you've never, if you have time, put in B.F. Skinner into YouTube and he can bring up some of the experiments that he has done. But basically, he talks about classical conditioning, and it's how we are conditioned to do certain things. And it's done. I use it all the time. I'm actually a pro at using with my students classical conditioning. It works every single time. But he found a way that you can reinforce a behavior, a learned behavior, by giving it a reward. And that's what the owners of Facebook and the creators of Facebook and the architects behind Facebook have done. So moreover, as consumers, it is important for us to be mindful of how technology is being used on us and what we can do to stay alert and aware of it. It is important to be able to recognize when we may be becoming more dependent on the gratification that we receive from social media platforms and other technological products that use persuasive technology and their understandings of the dopamine systems against us. So again, it's just, guys, just be aware. And again, now you have the information. You now know that every single time you go there and press a button, it's an instant dopamine hit. And that's why we keep doing it. This is why we post things. This is why we like things, because we want to be happy. Everyone wants to see a like and a love and a smiley face, right? All right, so I haven't done a Fool Fridays in a minute, and it's not even too fool today. Today is it's interesting, but it's kind of fool. It's kind of gross, but I thought I'd introduce it because it's going to be appearing in Loblaws. So I'm going to put a picture, and I want you guys to see if you could tell me, what is this? Throw up that picture for me. Can anyone tell me what they think that is? It's so gross. Ew. What is that? I'm going to put the next picture to show exactly what it is. Aha! Guys, Loblaw, Canada's largest grocery and President's Choice, is introducing, that's my drum roll, hush Dave, roasted cricket powder, to their line of President Choice products. This is the first time Loblaws in-house brand is selling insect protein. So, the crickets used for the powder come from Norwood, Ontario. It's called Entomo Farms. And as of Tuesday, March 6th, so they're in there now, you can pick up cricket powder where President's Choice products are sold. Loblaw states that the flour is high in protein and has a neutral flavor, making it a versatile option for many different recipes. Dave told me that he's going to put it in my dumpling, and I'm very excited about it. I'm going to have cricket dumpling. Cricket dumpling. All right. The benefits that have been associated with insect farming are it produces less greenhouse gases, requires less feed, water, and land than more traditional livestock. So if you're not too squeamish, mind you, the very first picture I told you was like not grounded. It's actually a powder, and when you get the bag, it's an actual powder, so you wouldn't be able to tell, but it's cricket powder. So I would suggest if you are making it for somebody, don't tell them after you've baked it and given it to them, please. They might just throw up and get vexed and storm out your house and never talk to you again. So one more thing before we go, I want to talk about some of the great things again that are happening in our community. So I have started work with an organization called the Canadian Human Rights International Organization. And one of the really great things that they are doing is on Thursdays from 1 until 4, they actually have a food bank that's open and available to the community, the Jane and Finch community. They're right across from 15 Tobermory. I can actually give the address. The address is 1725 Finch Avenue West, and it's right beside the library there. And on Thursdays from 1 until 4 o'clock, they have a food bank. Now, for the food bank, what you need to bring if you are going, you bring a piece of ID and $2. $2 is just for the bags. But they actually were very nice to send me the whole bunch of stuff that I've been kind of delivering to people. And milk, eggs, bread, they have everything. So for those people out there who may be having a tough time, may not be able to make ends meet, there are resources in our community. Sometimes we just don't know about them. So this organization is called CREO. I just recently started working with them. It's a great organization, and they have a food bank every Thursday from 1 until 4. Bring your ID, bring $2 for bags, and that's pretty much it. You can go there, pick up what you need for your family, and it's available to the public, especially the Jane and Finch community. Guys, I am enjoying this every week, coming here to present to you all the information that's given to me. I want to thank my TCNTM, I can't even talk today, my TCNTV for allowing me to deliver this information to you. I want to tell you guys, have a wonderful Friday. Join us back here next week. Actually, next week I won't be here, guys. I'm going to be in England next week. So we won't be here next week for In the Now, but join me in 2 weeks when I come back. I'm going to be coming back with lots of information, maybe some footage from England, some things that are happening there. Have a great Friday, and I'll see everyone.